Salvatore Ganacci has become a legend in the EDM scene, and today we are breaking down one of his styles. So yes guys, this is a free FLP, so be sure to download it in the description and follow along. Alright, so without further ado, we're in the project file. I'm going to show you guys what I made.
The power to take you on the floor. The power to take you on the floor.
Alright, so when you open the project file up, there will be a couple things different. You won't have the actual synthesizers here, but instead you'll have the consolidated files, just to make sure of compatibility's sake, because at the end of the day, everyone has different presets. Likewise, on the drum bus, I'm using a Nani, and if you don't have Nani, just put a different compressor on there. Let's get down into business. We're going to start with the drums. Here's our kick. So you can see I've shortened it because the full length of the kick is... it's very long and it's got a lot of sub, and we don't really want that. We like the punch of this kick, but we don't need that much sub. And in order to shorten it, now there's a new tool in FL Studio 21 where you can just use the tension. But if you have an older version of FL, you can go into declicking mode, use transient bleeding, and then drag your file back. Now the length of your kick will determine usually how long your sidechain has to be in order to keep your mix clean, and it's very important. For now, just make sure you have a sidechain that you can make in the mixer channel here. And I've made it using Fruity Balance because it's stock, anyone can use that. And as you can see, I am creating a volume automation, shaping the kind of sidechain that I want, and it's repeating every time the kick is playing. As you can see here, I'm actually putting the volume down at the end of each beat. If you just put this straight all the way till the end, there will be some clicking noises. Think of it as an imperfection. When you're physically touching a mixer, there's no way you can 100% put that down super fast. Now, a computer, of course, can do it much faster, but there's still some lag, I guess I could say. All right, next up, our clap. As you can see here, a lot of these individual hits make it quite a slappy clap. That's my best way to describe it. If you were to just have a clap like this, it's a singular impact. And it doesn't have that sort of same crunchy noise to it. So we like it when there's a lot to a clap, especially in this sort of style. And as you can actually see, if you look up close, I have just slightly reduced that initial impact a tiny bit. I was experimenting with the way it sounds when I glue that together with a kick. And it's quite nice when you don't have that first impact, because the kick, once again, if you listen, already has quite a... watch your ears, I'm going to loop this first a little bit. That's just high pitch, right? So when you mix it together with the clap, listen to this. Do you notice anything missing from the clap? I don't. And it's just because those kick and clap mix well together. So specifically choosing a kick and a clap that work together changes everything. And then as you can see, I'm routing these into a drum bus, which again just has a glue compressor. All right, and next up we have this hat here. Very simple metallic-y sounding hat. I have a free drum kit linked in the description below with a bunch of bass house and tech house inspired one shots. So the kick, clap, and hat together sound like this. And of course, I completely forgot to mention, we're at 137 BPM. This sort of faster range is very exciting. It's not common for house whatsoever, which just makes it very unique in my opinion. That should have probably been something to mention at the beginning of the video. Apologies for that. Next up, we have this extra little hat going on, creating swing. Well, not swing, creating the groove. And then when you hear that together with the hat, you'll hear what I mean. So the first thing is, this is a completely different sample, lower in volume, and it doesn't hit those same high frequencies. But moreover, you could see it's slightly off shifted away to give a little bit of swing. But this is one of those rare cases where you don't want to create too much swing because you don't need it at a higher BPM. Yeah, I know all you garage headies will be like, nah, you need swing all the time. That's completely up to you. I just don't hear it very often in a Salvatore Ganacci style track. And if you introduce a lot of swing in your drums, you need to use that same swing in your bass and your melody and everything. And there was no swing in a melody that we made it, which we will get to in a second. All right, and the final drum element is this amen break that you heard. We have actually an intro bit here that introduces the amen break. I downloaded Amen Break Generator on the Apple Store, and it's so fun. Like, if I just play this. That's the one that we decided to use for this. Anyway, there's a record button here, and it will send it to your files, and then I just airdropped it to my laptop, and there you go, Amen Break. And then actually, I am just chopping it up here for the drop. I'm putting it into the sidechain, so it just becomes a hat pattern, basically. Very exciting, very fun, and without it, you do miss it. It's very fun to have something like that. If you decide to not use an Amen break, that's fine. Definitely add some percussion and some sort of like background hats though. All right, that is all for the drums. Thanks for sticking around. Let's get straight into the bass line. So I made this using my Metamorphosis preset pack, which you can find linked down below. And this bass line is inspired by Your Mother. And then I added my sub preset. Again, you can find over 50 of these patches on my Metamorphosis preset pack linked in the description. So together, that bass line and sub sound like this. It's nice to separate a sub from a bass line is because you can then do things to your bass. I've decided not to do it for this song, but you could make your bass stereo and keep your sub mono to sound like this. It creates a very interesting effect, but do remember that it now takes a much wider space, obviously, in your mix. We're not doing that here. We're using Sound Goodizer and, again, cutting off the sub using a parametric EQ, and then just a little bit of compression. And in the sub, likewise, we're cutting all the low mids and above. Very nice, very simple. In the intro, we do have this Reese going on. And it's inspired by the Dom Dollar style, just decided to throw it in there. Cutting a bit of the subs, also introducing it slowly with a filter. And you can see we've just put it way in the background. It's a background element. And that brings us to the trumpets. As you can hear, it's multiple layers of trumpets here, playing the sort of same melody. Not too complicated, but I've decided to create some harmonies. So here's our first patch. These were made using Silent. These are just part of the stock pack. We just added a bunch of reverb to that, make it epic, and then cutting the sub off, some delay, and the OTT to kind of make it more epic, and then just cutting the high treble so it becomes a background element. And then with the sidechain, quite epic. Without it, you're missing so much. Guys, that brings us on to our final element, and we're almost done, the vocals. First, you need a driving vocal that takes the forefront. It should be in the mix, like all the way at the top.
The power to take you on floor.
Very simple techno style vocal. Of course, remember when you're searching for vocals, we're at a much higher BPM, so you got to keep that in mind. And as you can see here, we are automating the delay to make it fill more of the space. Otherwise, it's just dry all throughout. It's weird. And then we've added this secondary vocal to just kind of be a rhythm type thing. You can hear this in Your Mother. That was kind of the goal here. Kind of a funky thing going on here with the volume automation for that. Could get rid of that. Sounds like this. I just didn't like how much it was occupying the space, so I just kind of reduced it with this balance. And together,
The power to take you on floor.
also remember to look for vocals in the same key. So if we put it together with the trumpets, you get that epic vibe.
The power to take you on floor.
Yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the way this turned out. If you agree, be sure to subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, which is mental. Bless you, Salvatore Ganacci, for making awesome music. Again, when you download it, you will find these consolidated files. But if you want to try to get the same sort of effect with my presets, Again, my preset pack is linked in the description down below. And yeah, that's kind of it, guys. Thank you so much. Peace.
The power.